Since I was a child, I've always understood the importance of voting. All four of my grandparents were immigrants to the United States in the 1920s, and they often talked with me about how fortunate we are to live in a nation where we have an opportunity to determine our own destiny. They thought voting was important, and they instructed me in that way as a young child. But I really became aware of how much women had sacrificed to be able to vote when my daughter Brooke got involved in a History Day project as a middle school student. She decided to write a one-woman play about being a suffragette. And so she and I took a mother-daughter trip to upstate New York to Seneca Falls, where the first women's rights convention was held in 1848. We were the only two people visiting the site that day, which actually made me a little sad. But the guide was wonderful with us and told us wonderful stories about people like Lucretia Mott and Elizabeth Cady Stanton and many other women who were inspiring speakers at that particular event and who worked for decades to try to see that women were given their constitutional right and actually their human right to be able to participate in governing and be able to vote. After we left Seneca Falls that evening and went to our hotel, Brooke and I watched the film Iron-Jawed Angels. Hilary Swank stars as Alice Paul, the head of the National Women's Party and an inspirational and dedicated advocate for women's right to vote. Alice Paul was imprisoned a number of times. She actually participated, along with other suffragettes, in hunger strikes to try to force the president and Congress to give women the right to vote. She lived in conditions in prison with infested food, poor sanitation, and was force-fed. She lost many friends and the support of family members, and also experienced very negative financial consequences as well for her advocacy. But finally, in 1920, women were given the right to vote. I can still remember after the movie my daughter Brooke turning to me and saying, "Mommy, it's really important that we vote, isn't it?" And yes, it is. And I know that today I stand on the shoulders of many women who were willing to sacrifice health and security and even personal relationships so that I would have the right to vote. So join me in November and cast your vote. We need to be sure that we are a nation that cares deeply about the human dignity of all people, and we need to work to promote the common good.